Just quickly before we start, I've opened up a Calendly, so if you want to talk about anything at all, just click the link. It's completely free. 10 minutes, we can talk about anything. I don't even care. I'm not selling anything. I'm just doing this for fun. The struggles of dating as a quant. So, I'm a quant, right? What that means is I'm a highly mathematical person, right? Like when I was a kid, I used to go to math Olympiads and that kind of stuff. I'm good at coding. I used to be good at anything technical. Like I studied, you know, a STEM topic in university, and I ended up working in quant finance. And trying to date as somebody of my background is incredibly difficult. Why do I say that? It's because the very thing that brings you money, the very thing that you get paid to do, is the thing that's actively ruining your vibe and ruining your energy on a date. Let me give you an example. If you've been coding all day, or if you've been buried in an Excel spreadsheet all day, and you go to a date, you're literally your mind's not gonna work for like a normal conversation. Your mind is like stuck in that analysis mode. So that's why for somebody like me, things that I can just do um, routinely and systematically that don't require vibe are absolutely crucial. So like that's why I'm a big fan of looks maxing, because looks maxing is just like you have a routine, you can do it. You can just like put stuff on your face while you're still working on your code, or your mind is still in that program that you're trying to run to make money with. And you don't have to get out of that headspace. You can stay in that autistic headspace, and you can just have a program that you run. That's why pickup is extremely good for somebody like myself, because you have like a list of lines, a list of routines that you can just learn and you can just deliver. There comes a point where you do need to be like present in the moment to actually do these efficiently. But the thing about me is I've been both guys. I've been the autistic guy who's like high IQ, like high on numbers, who gets through the job interview. Like right now, I'm not even focusing on dating. I'm trying to get to get an interview with like a hedge fund or something, because I'm trying to just focus on making as much money as I can and as quickly as possible. So I'm actually shooting for very high demand, high pressure, high demand jobs, like 10 to 14 hours a day. That's completely gonna blow up my dating life, social life, any kind of life that I currently have. It's it's gonna be gone by that point. But over the years, I've managed to do both quant at like a good level and have a life and date. But the way that I've noticed this works for me is you kind of have to break out of the STEM mathematical headspace for chunks of time, so that you can become like the guy who can vibe. Like just to give you an impression of how all rounded I've tried to be, is I auditioned for acting school. I joined acting school like for a couple of years. Initially, it was to kind of like improve on this area of my life, but I actually ended up giving it a real shot as an actor. I'm still like sometimes looking for gigs. I don't do it full time anymore. I ended up being a club promoter for a while. So I did all the cool stuff, all the edgy jobs that I could, short of being a porn star, in an attempt to balance myself, because I come from, like I said, like a very highly technical background. So I needed to add that bit of like humanity back into my life. To this day, even though I've done both, I still cannot combine them. I can't be the coder or the trader and the funny guy at the same time. I just can't. They're two different brain hemispheres. And if you're trying to do both at the same time, you're just gonna suck at both. Every time I became this like high testosterone, like gym going, like charismatic guy, my work suffered. So like I fell behind in my work, because I wasn't as into the depths of it anymore, because I pull myself out so I can date. I I've come up with a lot of approaches and a lot of little hacks and techniques. One of which is looks maxing to allow myself to still be kind of in the game, in the dating game, whilst really focusing mostly on my work and on my like technical work. But it's really hard dating as a quant. The other thing about dating as a quant is that not all quants are millionaires. Like most quants make six figures. Some make low six figures, some make high six figures, but there's a spectrum, right? So just because you're a quant, you're not a millionaire. Very rarely are you like straight up a millionaire. And you basically don't usually make enough money. You make a lot more money than most people, but not enough to compensate for the fact that you're as autistic as you are, and that you're as probably skinny and short. Like just to give you some stereotypes. Like most quants who are actually really good at being a quant, they look like shit because the work they do is all consuming. And I've been there. I've immersed myself in my work to the point where everything else fell to the wayside. And I was looking like even now I've got like bad skin and everything because of all the coffee and all the stress that I've been through. So yeah, dating as a quant, it's kind of like they're opposite things, It's like being a quant equals being bad at dating, almost. Or if you want to do both, you're basically not gonna be a very good quant. Um, I'm happy to elaborate though, because this has been my life's mission to to basically become good at both, to find that perfect knife edge balance where I excel at both. I can see I'm pretty much 85% of the way there, and I've been working at it for 7 or 8 years. I've tried everything, like I said, like being a club promoter, like having a social circle full of girls, like being an actor. I've tried all of these things. Being a world traveler, having a good Instagram. I've done everything. I can still sense there's always like a little gap left. Like you can kind of asymptotically approach being good at dating, but you'll never be the guy who's like a full-time promoter at the club. The guy with no real financial prospects who just fucks. You'll never be that guy. You can approach him as much as possible, get into like a sort of 80-20, but there's always going to be something there that kind of is missing in your edge as long as you're serious about being a quant. Because you can't be a quant like a guy sitting at a desk all day and be a bad boy like star athlete, you know? It's just mutually there's always going to be some part that's mutually exclusive. That's what I'm saying. But you can get the Venn diagrams to overlap by a lot if you know what you're doing. And like I said, this has been my life's mission. So, whew, man, this was a heavy video to make because it's really personal. But I I hope I cleared some things up for you guys, and I'll be happy to see you guys in the next video or on my Calendly call. We can literally talk about anything. I don't care. Anyway, see you guys in the next one. Cheers.